Our nation is at a crossroads.
We can choose a new economic road.
A responsible road to sustainable prosperity.
Or we can continue with the same policies
that have led us to a crumbling economy.
We choose
prosperity.
We can rebuild our military, economic, and moral strength
through a just and secure peace. Or we can continue to squander our national treasure, including our precious sons and daughters,
in a bogged-down war in Iraq.
We choose
strength.
We choose
peace.
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 We can choose to reinvigorate the American dream of fairness and equal opportunity, or we can continue to allow our tax system to pit the haves against the have-nots and provide subsidies to huge corporations.
We choose fairness. We choose equality.
We can use what we know to prevent social problems,
laying a foundation for true economic and social justice.
Or we can continue to tolerate a system that abandons our minority communities
and send more young men to prison than to college.
We choose justice.
We can reaffirm our founders' faith that we are all created equal and choose the path of unity.
Or we can continue to listen to those who fan the flames of fear, using race, gender, religion, and sexual orientation to divide us.
We choose unity.
We can accept our responsibility to clean up our environmental mistakes and missteps and leave our grandchildren a legacy of clean air, fertile soil, and pure water. Or we can continue to watch while pollution and global warming become more harmful and costly with each passing day.
We choose responsibility.
We are the Democrats of Thurston County, and this is what we believe.
We believe that America, at its best, has always stood as a symbol of freedom, justice, and human rights throughout the world.
The current national administration has betrayed that proud tradition.
The citizens of America were led into this war under false pretenses. This war has distracted us from the real and necessary fight against terrorism.
And instead, it's created a breeding ground for future terrorism. Simply put, this administration has betrayed the trust of the dedicated men and women in uniformed services. This war must end.
America's foreign policy should not be based on building an empire through violence and coercion. Instead, it should be based on building a united international community through wise diplomacy and strong alliances to combat our true international enemies: ignorance, disease, and poverty.
Our returning wounded have been abandoned by the current administration.
We must forever honor and stand by the brave men and women who have served our nation and assure their full return to health and productivity
when their military years are done. We must do our duty as they have done theirs.
We believe in the American dream. We support the well-regulated, responsible, free enterprise system that made America the land of opportunity.
We reject the short-sightedness, greed, and fiscal irresponsibility that have undermined America's economic security.
We support balanced budgets, strict government responsibility,
and wise fiscal stewardship.
We support small business and local enterprise
over those multinational corporations that choose to exploit workers and the environment abroad and do nothing for the community at home.
While some say American businesses cannot afford the switch to clean energy, we say American businesses cannot afford not to be part of the tremendous economic opportunity of
building a new economy. We trust entrepreneurship, we trust innovation, we trust American ingenuity to build a new, sustainable economic system based on clean and renewable energy.
We believe in America that has always been and must always remain a land of fairness and opportunity.
The social contract that unites us all is undermined When a CEO earns as much in one day as a line worker earns in 1 year.
The engine that brought prosperity to America's middle class in the 20th century was a strong labor movement.
We support a strong and reinvigorated labor movement today.
We support the compassion for the less fortunate.
And the right of everyone to earn a living wage for a hard day's work.
We demand that international trade agreements
include strong protection for the environment, worker safety,
and all workers' rights to organize.
We believe, as Democrats have always believed, that it is our responsibility as citizens to care for one another. America's healthcare system has failed the fundamental tests of fairness and equality, and it must be reformed.
We believe that government, working with medical professionals, must create a unified system in which
it gives every American access to affordable, high-quality health care.
Healthcare decisions should be based on sound medicine and proven science, not on bureaucratic rules or profit.
Costs should be cut by focusing on health, education, and preventative care,
reducing overhead and paperwork, and eliminating unnecessary care.
We believe that education is our foundation of our economic prosperity, of our national security.
Indeed, of our democracy. And we owe, in fact, we have a responsibility to our children to provide excellence and innovation in education.
All children, rich and poor, deserve access to a high-quality public education, tailored to their different needs and the different ways that they learn.
College must be affordable for all.
Because it truly does take a village to raise a child. The community must be involved in its schools.
Educators build community trust by upholding the higher standards of education and fiscal accountability.
While testing assures that minimum standards are met, schools must not focus on teaching to the test.
Instead, our schools should focus on preparing students for careers, for higher education, for responsible citizenship, and for lifelong learning.
We believe that above all, America stands for freedom. Freedom is what our founders pledged their lives to gain,
and what every generation since has stepped forward to defend. Today, our freedom and the very integrity of our democratic system
has been put at risk by the current administration's reckless policies and careless disregard of the law.
The President, Congress, and Supreme Court, all who swear to defend the Constitution, must be held accountable when they fail to do so.
All government officials must be held to the highest standards of ethical conduct.
We must reverse the current administration's overexpansion of presidential power and completely restore every citizen's precious civil liberties.
We demand sovereignty be restored to the American people. Elections must be decided by the will of all of the people, not just the contributions of a few. Above all, our elections must be open and honest.
And every vote must count.
Every vote must count. Every vote must count.
We believe that we bear the responsibility to preserve creation. We have no higher duty than to pass on to future generations
a legacy of clean water, pure air, fertile soil, a safe food supply, and sufficient resources to meet their needs.
We must join with nations around the world in a fair and comprehensive effort to halt and ultimately reverse global warming.
We must combat efforts to distort and misrepresent science.
We must mobilize a massive and dramatic national campaign to achieve energy self-sufficiency by ending our reliance on fossil fuels.
This is not just an environmental imperative. It is crucial for maintaining a vibrant economy, guaranteeing our national security, and preventing war.
We must take immediate action to remove the toxic chemicals from the human food chain. We cannot allow ourselves or our children to be poisoned through carelessness or greed.
Prosperity,
strength,
peace,
fairness,
equality, justice,
unity,
responsibility.
We stand for these values.
the values for which our nation was founded.
We stand for these values.
The values women and men crossed continents and oceans to attain.
We stand for these values, the values that generations of Americans have lived and worked and fought and died for.
Our nation has been falsely led astray.
But we intend to lead it home.
We intend to lead it home. We are the Democrats of Thurston County, and we have come to take our country back.